Welcome back to This Week in Fantasy, the series in which I take a look at my fantasy football league and talk about fantasy football in general. Joining me today is the defending champion of this league, Jaxon Honcho Jax. Jaxon, how's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Doing good. So let's jump right in. I just saw Ben changed his name to Fade to Black after he didn't get Mahomes. That's great. So we're going to be going team by team and sort of just talking about what we think about the person's draft and then grading their team. So we're going to start with the first division, the Cursed Lands, and we're going to be starting with Lily, whose team name is Matt Stafford in no capital letters. And she went very quarterback heavy. She took Baker Mayfield in the 5th round. What do you think about this pick, Jaxon? Is that a reach?
Not necessarily a reach because you're going to have to go for him like 5 or 6. You know, 5's a little early. But, I mean, the fact that she got Odell, that hookup right there is going to be some nice points. I mean, overall, I think she's got a good starting team. I don't know how active she's going to be in the waiver wire. But, I mean, her starting team is all right. But, yeah, drafting 3 quarterbacks is a little bit different from my style of drafting.
Yeah, it surprised me, A, that she took Baker so early, B, that she would get such a good backup in Drew Brees, because obviously she had to sort of take him when she could have been building depth. But then the fact that she got Stafford at the end, I actually like that because she's committing to the gimmick. She's actually following through on her name. Whereas we had some people who had, names based around a certain player, like Ben was Mahomes is where the heart is, and he got cock blocked from Mahomes with the 6th pick.
Yeah, I think Mahomes went 8th overall. It's way too early. You can have him.
Super early. What do you think about Joe Mixon?
I like Joe Mixon a lot. I mean, obviously in my other league, got him a little bit at a different time. He went a little bit higher in this one, but I mean that's a good RB1. And then I mean Aaron Jones is all right. I mean she doesn't really have a lot of depth though. And certainly Shepard, I mean, he can be a serviceable flex, but I mean, there's not a lot of depth on this team. The starters are good, but there's no depth. It's kind of how I'm feeling about it right now.
I agree completely. I think the starters, like you said, are good. I love Brandon Cooks, and I love Woods too. Also of the Rams, I feel like they're some of the most consistent receivers out there. And Odell Beckham, I think a lot of people are expecting him to have absolute top tier, receiver 1 production, 200 plus points. But this guy has a hard time staying healthy. And I've never really been a fan of Packers running backs.
No, me neither.
So what would you rate this team, if you were to give it a letter grade?
I mean, it's hard because it's the first team to grade, but I mean, knowing that I know there's a couple of other good teams here. I'm gonna say this is maybe a D plus, C minus. Yeah. I mean, it's just the 3 quarterbacks when you needed depth elsewhere. I mean, the running backs are not that deep, and I mean, the options on the bench. I mean, she's not going to be able to use a running back at her flex at all. It's going to be a wide receiver all year. So I don't know. I mean, it's just going to be no depth with the 3 quarterbacks.
I agree with you. I also give it a C minus. One of the things that I think is interesting is the fact that Lily's not really considered an active owner or someone who's always on the biggest, free agent on the waiver wire.
Yeah, no. So she's not active in the waiver wire, so I mean, it's going to be a tough year.
Yeah, the fact that she has no depth at all is very troubling. Okay, let's move on. Next, we should do Seagouch, who is, Zeke is hiding or something. Hide and Zeke. Now, it's sort of funny to me. In fantasy football, usually people will change their name every so often. Sometimes like this, they'll go with a team name related to their best player. But the profile picture is so important. I feel like you can be so creative and very funny when it comes to setting a profile picture in fantasy football. And when I look at this, my first initial thought, it's hard to tell what the hell it is. To me, it looked like an album cover where there was a sea of blood with the skeleton floating in it and a football on the top of the blood. And someone pointed out no, that's the Salvation Army kettle. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. But anyway,
The only thing that I really like have an issue with is like his lack of creativity. Being he named both of his teams the same damn thing. He drafted Zeke overall fourth both times.
yeah, he
Like
got
he had
fourth pick
no
both times.
variety in his like. You know what I mean? Like he's basically stuck with his decision. You know
Oh,
what I mean? And
yeah,
I don't know how many weeks Zeke's gonna be out, but I mean this is what I'm gonna say. If you play your division the first 3 weeks and you lose 2 out of those 3 games, you're pretty much fucked. So, I mean, you don't start off very well. So that's why I'm just like, I'm not gonna draft someone like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
yeah,
not gonna start off on the wrong foot. You know?
yeah. I think the people who got put in the 4th draft pick this year were in a predicament because there were very clearly 4 top running backs, and there was just a huge fall off after that. Gurley has his knee issues. Lev Bell had a whole year off, and he's on a new team that doesn't have a very good line. David Johnson had an off year, and he's on a team with a new coach and a new quarterback. Whereas the top 4 guys, McCaffrey, Chimera, Zeke, and Barkley, were pretty much certain. They're established. And for Christian to get sort of stuck with Zeke both times, I mean, Zeke was falling in some drafts. For like obviously in drafts with a lot of Texans, he really wasn't, but in other leagues, people were really respecting this potential holdout. I mean, the dude could pull a bell and never play it down.
Yeah. I mean, my thing is, I just don't want to hear about it at the end of the year. Oh, well, Zeke didn't play, or you. I mean, you knew the risk factors in drafting Zeke, so
Yeah.
and you did it anyways. You know what I mean? So.
Yep.
Now, talking about his team, he thinks he was texting me and he was like, "Oh, about the something's going on," because he got Phillip Rivers. Like, I mean, I like Phillip Rivers, and it would have been nice to like get Phillip Rivers, but like, I'm not tripping on Phil. I mean, I'm not tripping on the fact that he got Phillip Rivers. Like, he doesn't have anybody to match it up with, like wide receiver wise. He didn't get. You know what I mean? Like, Rivers is going to be an okay player. But, like, my big thing about his team is, okay, yeah, if Zeke comes back, it's good. But as soon as Zeke comes back, Pollard's worthless.
Yep.
You got Damian Harris and Sonny Michel. You know what I mean? Only one of them is going to be worth anything at some point in the year. Hunt's suspended. Devontae Freeman could potentially get hurt. I mean, he's got good backs and stuff like that. I mean, he's got a lot of depth, too. I don't like Miles Sanders at all. Because of how high he went for him, and I mean, there's just too many backs there. Now, wide receiver wise, Tyreek Hill, great player. I'm not high on Dante Pettis. I mean, I just think there's a lot of wide receivers for the 49ers. OJ Howard could have a good year. I mean, I don't really see a whole lot of like great depth on the team. There's a couple of good players like Tyreek Hill, Zeke Elliott. Rivers is a serviceable quarterback, but I don't know. I mean, I'm just not feeling DJ Moore, Cortland Sutton. You know what I mean? I don't know. This team is going to have to do a lot of work on the waiver wire. I feel like definitely at wide receiver.
I agree. And as a Panther fan, I can tell you I'm not high at all on DJ Moore. The way that the Panthers score is Newton finesses his way in, usually by running, maybe a shot over the middle to Greg Olsen, and that offense is really based around McCaffrey. That's why he's such a great pick at the top of the draft, especially in PPR leagues. And just a reminder to all of our viewers, this is a non-PPR league, a traditional old school format. And you made a lot of good points, and one of the things that you said that I really agree with was Pollard is going to be worthless once Zeke comes back. Now, I actually think it's a good thing that he got Pollard because you sort of mitigate some of your risk with Zeke. But Zeke is like probably the running back in the NFL that solo carries the most. Like the Cowboys don't timeshare at all. Like when Zeke is in the backfield, it's only Zeke. So once he comes back, Pollard won't even be rosterable. Tyreek Hill has his like psychotic girlfriend trying to like set him up old school style, Richard Nixon with the tape recorder. Like she's trying to like record him and bait him into like admitting to domestic abuse, and he has some injury history. Like he's so explosive, and he's one of these receivers that can literally put up 30 in a week. But to me, he's high risk, high reward, which is pretty much how Seagouch is drafted since 2008, you know.
Well, my thing is, okay, Zeke first round, Tyreek Hill the second round. Like, who did he get in the third round? Devontae Freeman? You know what I mean? And then after that, like, I feel like he's got a bunch of, like, 9 to, like, 11-round pick people like
Yeah.
Sanders, Moore, Sutton, like all like Hunt, like Harris. All these guys are like guys that you would take in like the 9th to 11th round, and they were all taken either between round 5, round 5 through 9. I'm sure he went and got OJ Howard 4th overall, or Sonny Michel 4th, or I don't know. I'm not. I mean, he's gonna, how he is. He's gonna be, I have a good team.
Every year.
Every year.
Every year with Zeke.
I don't see it. You know what I mean? I think he did a good job with getting Pollard with Zeke, but no. I mean, this team is like a lot of hype. Like, hopefully things pan out.
Yeah, he needs a lot of things to break his way. Also, I think it's worth noting he literally doesn't have a kicker or a defense. What do you think about that?
Well, me and him have talked about this, and we kind of had this plan not to draft a kicker in defense. I didn't draft a kicker in defense in my other league, which, I mean, it's kind of dumb because you're just going to have to drop 2 people. But, I mean, he'll drop Hardeman because he's projected like probably 2 points, and he'll probably drop Sanders or Hunt that first week, and he'll pick up a kicker in defense. I don't know. It's whatever.
Defense, I can see because you play the matchups, right? That's what almost everyone does.
Yeah.
Because the NFL has pretty much litigated defense out of the game with all these corn dog new rules. You don't really have the hardcore defenses that you used to have. Like the Bears are really good, but there's a huge fall off after that. So, defense streaming I can see, but kicker, like getting a top 5 kicker for a really good offense is actually very beneficial because a guy can net you like 10 points every week. Yeah,
I mean, I will say I drafted Tucker in the 12th round. Like, my thing is like if my guy's gone, well, like I'm not gonna like go crazy. And like my 2 guys that I'm gonna draft is Butker or Tucker. So like once those guys are off the board, I'm kind of just like I'm honestly just gonna waiver a kicker until like I find that guy that like has that offense that they can move down the field, but they can't get in the end zone, and they're just cooking field goals all the damn time.
Yeah.
So
Houston's kicker.
Yeah. Well, he's like a top 5 kicker now.
Yeah,
everybody knows about him.
They can at least get it to the red zone for him.
But basically, like how he was last year, where like nobody drafted him, and then as the years going on, you realize that the Texans have a good offense that scores a lot of points. You know what I mean? Then you can pick that guy. But a guy that I liked a lot was Bagley. I thought Bagley, because they're always moving the ball. The Chargers are. So I was kind of high on Bagley and where you could get him at. You didn't have to break the bank to get him.
Okay, so giving Seagouch a grade, what are you thinking here?
I mean, it's hard to grade because he does have Zeke. I think he's very like he drafted top heavy where he was strong his first 4 picks, but like after that he just like broke off. I'll say like probably like a C+.
I'll give him a flat C. And if Zeke comes, I mean, thing about this roster is he needs a lot of things to break his way, like including Freeman staying healthy, which pretty much never happens. I just think there's too many question marks and not enough depth on this team, so that's why I chose to give it a C. Let's move on to Weston.
Okay. I thought Weston had a good draft. I mean, I'm kind of like upset because like if you look at his team, it's a lot of what my team was last year that like really went off because I had Connor, and my 2 wide receivers that I rode all year was Adams and Wood. That's a good combination right there. Those 2
lethal.
guys. Woods is he's good for 10 points every week. Devontae Adams will score 15 to 20 every week. And then he's flexing Ridley. I mean, Ridley's a guy that I took 4th overall in my other league. Like I think Calvin Ridley could, not 4th overall, 4th round pick, sorry. I think could have a good year. Josh Jacobs is one of those like more high risk guys because I really don't know what their offense is going to be like, and he is a rookie. But I think it's a good like RB2, you know what I mean? Because he could potentially be an RB1, pans out. I think what happened though with Weston is when he accidentally drafted Wilson or he auto-picked Wilson, he doesn't want Wilson and he went with Wentz anyways. I honestly think he should have just stuck with Wilson since he already wasted the pick on him. And then because, I mean, if you look at his bench, I just feel like his bench is just like weak as hell. Like these are like guys that might score 5 points. Like James Washington, that's maybe 5. I mean, James Washington could have a better year towards the end of the year. But, James White, this isn't PPR. He's not going to do shit. Rashard Penny, sharing time. Darius Geis, he's projected like 3 week 1. They don't even have half their offensive line. I'm not high on him with the share time position. Balaj is a backup. starters wise, good team. Bench, pretty trash. But I mean, he's gonna waiver wire all year like he does, and he'll have a good bench by the end of the year. He'll probably be in the playoffs. I think his starters are better than both Christians and
Lilies.
Lilies. I mean, I give him a B minus draft grade just because of I think he might have a little bit of a better team if he wouldn't have accidentally picked Wilson, but I'll give him like a B minus, B or a B or so.
What do you
Not
think?
a bad team.
What do you think about him taking the whole Chargers special teams unit, the kicker and the defense?
I mean, I told you I like Bagley, so Bagley's a good player. Chargers, I mean, I had the Chargers defense last year, and they're a team that they have good weeks, but they don't show up every week. And the fact that offense is so moves the ball so fast, they're on the field a lot. I mean, he'll probably be waiver wiring his defense throughout the year, so it's not gonna really matter.
Yeah, I think if not this specific draft, but talent-wise, I think Weston's top 3 in the league. He has a consistently good record.
Yeah.
He plays the waiver wire heavily. He usually.
No, I mean, honestly, I don't really respect a lot of people in this league, and he's one of the people that I do respect in the league. So that's what I will say.
I love your honesty. My thoughts on this is, obviously he doesn't want Wilson, and he's basically trying to fucking give the dude away. And
yeah,
if
anybody's watching this, just like let him keep him and make him like drop him, because he obviously wants to ride Wentz. You know what I mean? If he went for Wentz after he already accidentally got Wilson or whatever.
Well, and
Wilson's not a bad quarterback either, nothing like that. But it's just like, don't help the man out. You know what I mean? That's my thing.
Well, and you got people like Lilly rostering like multiple starting tier quarterbacks. Like, it's going to be hard to pawn Wilson off on someone.
Yeah.
And it was.
And the fact that I got Newton in round 13, like,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't even have to break the bank, and I'm getting a guy that's supposedly starting the year off. I mean, he's supposed to be playing week 1. You know what I mean? Like, and I got him in like the 13th round or something. I don't even know what round I got him in. Like, not that he's just like God tier or anything like that, but he's a serviceable quarterback. You know what I mean? I didn't break the bank for him.
Yeah, I feel like the longer you can wait on a quarterback, usually the better your draft is. And it's a lot of people will reach for a quarterback in, rounds 4, 5, 6, and I'm
first.
First in some cases even. And I'm sitting there, in like the 8th round, like there's fucking 10 guys still out there that I like. I'm gonna keep waiting.
Honestly, I was really upset because like the wide receivers that I got, I was trying to get Winston and I was trying to get Cousins, and both those guys went off the board like right before I was like about to draft. And so it was just like, man, I have to basically take Newton. Like, nobody wants him. I'm getting him late. Like,
at least he's a running quarterback. Lethal in fantasy football.
Will he run at all this year?
I don't know. I mean, he's not. I feel like he has to if they want to score. But to me, this team's strength lies in the consistency of its receivers, and I'd give Weston a B minus.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, if those 2 running backs pan out, this is going to be, he'll make the playoffs. But if those running backs don't pan out, he's absolutely screwed, because those running backs on his bench are trash.
Yeah, I think James White has the biggest fall off from a PPR league to a non-PPR in terms of value out of like anyone in the league.
Yeah, I mean, the same goes for, I think, Tariq Cohen, Duke Johnson. I mean, Eckler's value even goes down. I mean, just any of those guys that make a lot of the pass catching is their bread and butter. It's just they're I don't even like touch them in standard league.
Fair enough. All right, decent team from Weston. We know he'll be active. He's always a threat.
Yeah, he'll be in the playoffs.
Let's move on to my team.
All right.
All right, so take it away.
So obviously did a really good job with the wide receivers. Got 2 top-notch wide receivers, Julio and Thomas, Damian Williams and Chris Carson, and Tevin Coleman as the backs. These are all guys that, like, to me, none of them are RB1s, but those are all like RB2s. So like, you don't have like a bell cow, like as far as, one of those top 7 backs or so, but like you've got 3 really solid uh, like backs to go with those two good wide receivers, and then Kettle, obviously one of the top 3 tight ends. I don't like Tom as quarterback. I mean, he might be serviceable, but this is and then to only have him as your only quarterback on your roster, I didn't really realize that. I don't know. I think you're just kind of like playing with fire right there. If he's got an off week, now if he does play good and stuff like that, you'll be fine. But and then bench wise, I think you did a good job. Albert Wilson, I think, is a steal. I got him in the other league. I think he's going to have a huge year. I mean, he's a little bit better for PPR, but whatever. D.D. Westbrook might have a good year. I don't look at the Jaguars having like a high power, passing offense. Valdez Scantling could have a good year. Mohamed Sanu is a player I like. Emmanuel Sanders is underrated. Devin Singletary is supposed to get most of the carries there, so he might come out. This is I like the depth on this team more than I've liked the depth on any of the other teams. And then Lutz and obviously we talked about the Bills defense. They've got the easiest schedule the first 3 weeks.
Yep.
So that's just like a great defense to start off with that you didn't have to break the bank for. Lutz is a good kicker. So I mean, I give this like a B plus. Just because you did such a good job on the starting wide receivers, and then like you did a solid job on getting like 3 like good backs that are most likely pan out. That'll give you like a solid 8 to 10 each week. I think your one weakness is going to be quarterback, and maybe you can waiver a guy or make a trade for somebody, but that's the only weak spot I really see.
What do you think about Tevin Coleman?
I like Tevin Coleman, but I really think that like Matt Breida and him are going to be sharing a lot of time, and I really think like Breida is going to like take over more of the carries. I don't know why I think that. Just like how Tevin Coleman was more of like the backup role, I just think that Breida. I mean, the fact that McKinnon went out and like is now on IR, now there's only 2 guys in San Francisco. I think it's a good pick, but obviously I don't think he's as good as Chris Carson. I don't think that he's as good as Damian Williams. And I think you might even be flexing other guys at times instead of Coleman. But I think Coleman's like a good player and like a good like risk kind of like, oh, this guy might pan out or this guy might just be like a bench guy that I'm thinking about starting each week. That's kind of how I felt about Tevin.
Yeah, I was sort of hoping he'd be the mainstay, and after McKinnon blew his knee out, the chances went way up. I'd give myself a B. Usually I don't do the double receiver builds, and Tom Brady, he's consistent, but he doesn't have a really high ceiling, and I think that I do have the best bench in my division. Okay.
There's a lot of depth.
Yeah. All right.
Like a lot of different places to go.
We're moving on to the middle division, so we can do clap for bacon.
Whoa. Clap for Mahomes.
Now, this was so
Obviously.
funny.
How did he get Chubb, though? That's what I want to know.
With his middle
Did he
second
get
round
Chubb
pick.
in the second round?
Yeah, because he was like, he was either 6th or 7th.
Okay.
And I think Ben was 8. The Mahomes stand.
I mean, this is an all-right team. Tyrell Williams, all right. Debo Sanders, kind of like risky guys. Curtis Samuel, risky guys. We don't know what they're going to do. Will Fuller, good player. What week will he get hurt? Carlos Hyde is projected like .50 week 1. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going to happen with him, how much he'll get to play. Dak, you know how I feel about Dak. He's not a fantasy quarterback. And he went with double Cowboy. That's not bad. I mean, Cowboys – I mean, I don't really like the Cowboys' defense. I like Van Der Esch and their linebackers, but I don't like their defense. Kicker, that's an all right kicker.
Pure unabashed homerism on the special teams.
Yeah. I'm surprised that Jason Witten isn't the starting tight end.
Talk to him.
But Adrian Peterson starting as your flex, don't like that. That's not a good look. He's got really good strength, obviously, in his starters, which who does? Evan Ingram, I think, is destined to at least have a big first 4 weeks with the injuries that the Giants have, and the fact that Manning just likes to throw to tight ends a lot.
Golden Tate suspended.
Yeah. Keenan Allen. I like Keenan Allen. I think he's a really good player. Alshon Jeffrey. He's not a guy that I like to draft, but he's not a bad player. And then I really like Chubb. I'm really surprised that he even got Chubb in the second round. I mean, I think Chubb's a guy that should have gone in the first. And then Derrick Henry. You never know about Derrick Henry. He'll have good weeks. He'll have bad weeks. You know, the week you don't start him, he'll have a good week. And then obviously he's got Patty, but I mean, you get 4 points for a touchdown in this league. I don't think having Patty's gonna. I don't think Patty's gonna do exactly what he did last year, and I just think that obviously he's an old school guy. He doesn't really draft how most people draft, so I'm not surprised that he picked Mahomes to start off. But it's just, I don't know. You really throw yourself for a loop when you go for a quarterback first overall.
I got a question for you. Mahomes threw 50 touchdowns last year. How many will he throw this year?
37.
Okay, that's a good answer. So I swear some of these Chiefs fans, Austin Black included, are like high on their own supply and think Mahomes is going to do just as good, if not better, than last year. Like, there's no way he can reproduce that big of a season.
My thing is I don't really care because I'm just like, you just grab his weapons. You grab his weapons, he can't beat you. You have a Hill, you have a Kelsey, you have a Damian Williams, you got Sammy Watkins. Like, just grab like those guys that he throws to. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you counter someone like Mahomes.
Now, are you a believer in like the discount double points being a good strategy, where if you have a quarterback, you want to get their first receiving option as well?
I like to do it the opposite way. Like, I'd rather like draft a wide receiver and then try to get the quarterback, not try to get a quarterback and then get a wide receiver. Because what happens is you'll get the quarterback and then you'll get, let's say you got Aaron Rodgers, but you didn't get Devontae Adams. So you basically go and say, okay, I'm going to get Geronimo Allison. I'm going to get Valdez-Scantling or whatever. Like, that's not the right type of discount you want. You know what I mean? You need to have Matt Ryan and Julio. You need to have Devontae Adams and Rodgers. You know what I mean? Like, you got to get the wide receiver first and then hope to get the quarterback.
But is it a strategy? Do you like it? Is it something you think is good?
Yeah, I think it is a good strategy. I will usually try to do it. This year, obviously, I didn't in this league because the quarterbacks were all gone. I mean, the quarterbacks that I wanted were all gone or whatever. I talked about trying to get Winston and Cousins because I've got two of their good receivers. So it didn't really work out for me this year, but I usually like to do it that way.
You know, when I look at this team, it seems average, I would say. You know, Will Fuller's coming off of a torn ACL. I think Carlos Hyde is going to be overshadowed by Duke Johnson. I think his bench is pretty damn weak, and his receiving.
Yeah, even his flex is weak.
Yeah, like it's not a very deep team. Who do you think is the #1 receiver for the Eagles? Is it Alshon Jeffrey?
I don't even give a shit. Like, it's whatever, dude. Like, they have too many weapons.
Yeah.
Is it Aguilar? Is it
Deshaun Jackson? He's an Eagle again.
Is it? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like I don't like messing with the Eagles.
Yeah, same.
Wide receiver.
I give this a C+.
All right, I'm gonna give it a D+.
Okay.
I don't really like the team. I mean, just the fact I know that he drafted Mahomes first overall or for 8th overall or whatever. It's just, I don't know. That's just not the strat that I would go with.
Alrighty. Now let's move on to Spencer's team. Jameis's Crab and Go.
I don't even know what that means. It's like a drive-through.
It's like a reference to him stealing crab legs when he was in college.
Okay.
And he has Jameis. Okay. He has Kenyon Drake, who, I mean, the Dolphins are like pretty much openly tanking, right? Like, the Dolphins are probably going to win 3 games. Then he has Saquon, who I think is going to be incredibly good this year.
Yeah, really good for standard. He's going to be the standard guy.
I love Tyler Boyd because A.J. Green is injured and has pretty much become injury prone in the last couple years. Juju Smith-Schuster, one of my favorite players, a very consistent guy who won't have to compete with AB. Now, Jackson, let me ask you this. Will Smith-Schuster benefit from AB being gone? Because some would argue that it would actually help to have AB on the team because AB is so dangerous deep and he can help Schuster get open in the mid-range game.
No, this is complete. This is, I mean, I don't know if you realize, but I had the opportunity to pick Juju, AB, or Adam Thielen, and I took Adam Thielen like over both of these guys because I just believe that Juju is going to get doubled now. Like all eyes are on Juju. I mean, James Washington may have actually a good year because of the amount of coverage that's going to be on Juju Smith-Schuster. So I don't think Juju is going to transition that well to wide receiver 1 after being wide receiver 2. I think he really benefited from the situation that he was in. I mean, I felt like that from the beginning. But what I'll say about Spencer's team is he's done it. Like I noticed it last year. I can't remember the 3 wide receivers he had. I think it was Thielen, Keenan Allen, and he had some other good wide receiver. I think it might have been AB. But he does a really good job of getting like 3 just hardcore good wide receivers, and then he fills his team in well with the other at the other spots. Now he's not afraid to suffer at RB2. That's kind of like where he suffers because he takes the wide receivers, and then he also took Ertz early, and then he took Winston late. He went with the round quarterback strat. I think it's a good one. I just think it would be better with like Winston if he had like Godwin or if he had Evans to match it with. I really kind of wanted to get Winston because I had Godwin. And then bench wise, I don't like Cohen. Freeman sucks. McCoy might be okay. Geronimo Allison is a player I like. I'd never draft 2 kickers. That's retarded. And then Josh Allen might be okay. But, I mean, if his quarterbacks don't pan out, he's pretty screwed. And then Steelers defense will probably be all right.
He does.
This is like a B+ because of the wide receiver depth, and then he's got like a top-tier tight end. And then obviously Keem Barkley, like 3rd overall or whatever. I just don't like Kenyon Drake, and then obviously his quarterbacks are weak.
They're risky. They're real risky quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I got a question.
They're one of those that's like, it makes me look really good if they work out, but if they don't work out, you know what I mean? Oh, it's okay because they're not supposed to be good. It's one of those kind of picks. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, and I feel like that one of the reasons he got Winston is because the Bucs have such a shitty defense where they're always behind and they just air it out.
Yeah. I mean, he's been high on Winston for like the last year and a half. I remember when we do these streams and shit, he's always talking about streaming Winston and this and that.
I have a question for you. LaShawn McCoy was at the height of his career when old wing-loving Andy Reid was coach. Do you think that McCoy will take over half the carries from Damian Williams?
No, I mean, I drafted Damian Williams in my other draft, so I don't really think so. I mean, I think that he'll be a factor, but I look more at like the contract and the fact that like he's the new guy. It's a 1-year deal, $4 million. He's not even like in the offense yet. Like I don't really look at him as like a 3rd down back, but I don't really see him getting. I just don't see him getting the carries that he is. One of those, like, he's just a name at this point. He's not really what does he really bring to the table? He's just a name.
Fair enough. How do you think that Cooper Kupp is going to do coming off his torn ACL?
I don't really get into crap like that. Like, I think he looks fine. I think he's gonna have a good year. I just think Kupp's one of those. I will be like one of those guys that says. There's certain guys that are more valuable in PPR leagues, and Kupp is way more valuable in the PPR.
Totally agree. He's like Cole Beasley on a high-octane offense.
Yeah.
I would give Spencer a B+, just because of, like you said, he has.
Yeah, he's a good owner. He knows how to waiver it and shit like that. So he's going to be, even if his draft was god-awful, he's going to waiver well.
Yeah. Solid receivers, top 3 tight end. Best running back in the league. I think the whole kicker bit is he's going to do Crosby the whole way, but he doesn't want to play him against Chicago. So that's why he got Robbie Gould, if I had to guess. That and the fact that Tampa's defense is god-awful. So that does it for Spencer's team.
Sounds good.
Let's go to the new guys, who has been in the league for 2 years.
2 years, and he's still a new guy. Like, what the fuck? Like, can't think of a damn name.
He's got Jared
Picture
Goff.
looks like in the fucking office on this damn picture.
Yeah. He's got Jared Goff, who I think is going to be one of the most consistent guys in the league.
Yeah. What I don't like about him being in my division and playing him week 1 is like we've got opposite wide receivers. I've got Godwin and I've got Thielen. He's got Evans and he's got Diggs. Like it's just like it's gonna be a total just no fun. Like his guy will go off, my guy won't. My guy will go off, his guy won't. Just some. I mean, regardless. Sorry, his team though. I mean, good. He's got 3 good wide receivers. Landry's a lot more valuable in PPR. Diggs is a lot more valuable in PPR. Evans is a good player. Hunter Henry. We'll see if Hunter Henry can stay healthy. David Montgomery. I mean, I like David Montgomery, but as your RB2, I'm not sure about that. He's a share time back at the end of the day. David Johnson, good player on a bad team. I mean, he'll be a serviceable RB1, but it's not nothing to write home about. And then let me look at his bench. It's pretty trash. I mean, wasted a pick on the 12th man. Latavius Murray, backup. Gore, basically a backup. Gallup might have a good year. I don't know. Christian Kirk, a lot of hype. Moncrief, a lot of hype. Vinatieri, not a bad kicker. Ravens defense, I think, is going to be trash this year. They lost a lot of bodies.
Yeah, that's true.
I just don't. I mean, I think that they're going to be good in the secondary, but I think their front 7 has been totally dismantled. This is like to me, this is like probably like a C+. There's not really anybody that really just sticks out at me. It's like Mike Evans is about the only guy that's really sticks out at me. David Johnson maybe.
Jackson, do you think that Mike Evans is tier 1, man?
I mean, I think he's tier 1 because where you have to draft him at. Like you have to draft him so high. Like I mean, he gets the targets of a number 1 receiver. I mean, he definitely has certain weeks where he puts up the number.
Yeah, he does benefit from being in a pass-heavy offense that's always behind.
He's just not a guy that I would like to draft, though. You know, we'll say that. Like, he puts up numbers. He's just not a guy I'd really like to draft.
Yeah, I'm honestly not a big fan of this team. Like, Goff is going to be consistent. David Johnson underperformed last year. He's got a new coach and a new quarterback. Both are rookies. It's amazing how Cliff Kingsbury went from like going 5-7 with Texas Tech every year to USC's quarterback coach for like a month, and now he has a fucking head coaching gig. Like, how did he finesse that? That's just crazy to me.
Yeah, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to go from. I mean, my thing is though, is like Tech's one of those schools that you don't have a lot of talent. You're not going to have a lot of talent. And Cliff was never going to be successful with not enough talent. Like, I think he's the type of guy that has the type of offense that he was like the coach of Oklahoma. He might be successful, but like, there's just not enough talent that goes to Tech. And like the new guy there, the Matt Wells, I think he's like dealing with not a lot of talent being at Utah State and like really knowing how to recruit and stuff like that and like go and get diamonds in the rough. So like, I don't think that Tech was ever going to work out for him. I honestly think he'll be a better NFL coach than he was at college.
I hope so.
Because he's going to actually have talent for his system.
I want to see him succeed. But whenever I look at David Montgomery, I think Cohen's going to get a lot of those looks. Evans is solid. Diggs is the number 2 guy in his offense. Hunter Henry gets hurt every year. The Browns' offense has so many mouths to feed, so I'm not big on Landry. Cullen's a fucking 3rd stringer. Frank Gore is not going to get many touches because they have that Singletary guy, who the rookie they're looking to give looks to. I like Michael Gallup, actually, an emerging
Michael
Cowboy. But I don't really.
But I mean, to think that that's his top guy on his bench, you know what I mean? That's just like not. That's just not that great.
I give this team a C-.
If you're sitting there like, man, he's got Michael Gallup on his bench, you know that. Well, if that's the best thing you got on the bench, so that's probably not very good. He'll be on the waiver wire all year.
Yeah, he's pretty active. Alrighty, so after I gave that one a C-, we can move on to your team. Trophies.
All right. I mean, I'm not gonna give myself an A or nothing like that. But I just want to say I know that I had a good ass draft. I think that getting Kamara I think I had the third pick. I think I got Kamara. I actually was happy to get Kamara because I got McCaffrey in my other draft, so I have a little bit of a variety. I love Kamara. He's obviously not as good not in PPR, but he's still going to be a solid player. And then, I mean, I got Thielen round 2. I was like, I think I need to go ahead and get a wide receiver. So I got Thielen, picked him over Juju and AB. So I'm hoping he has a good year. Fournette was my 3rd round pick. I said I got to solidify my running backs, get at least 2 big time guys. I mean, Fournette could get hurt and stuff like that, but I'm taking the risk. I like Chris Godwin and I like Kenny Golladay. I took those 2 guys next. I'm pretty sure. My thing is like maybe I'll be able to find a suitable flex, but for sure I'm gonna have 2 solid wide receivers in Golladay and Thielen. And then, there's some hype behind Godwin might having a good year. So, I'll test the waters with that. And then Joku, I don't know. I really didn't like a lot of the tight ends. And he was a guy that I could get a little bit later. Didn't have to break the bank for. That potentially could have a good year with all the weapons that are on that team. Maybe he'll get some red zone targets. Running back wise, obviously I like Darrell Henderson a lot because I'm kind of like banking on Gurley getting hurt. Matt Breida obviously is a shared time back. I'm not like too excited about him, but he is one of those other guys in that backfield with Coleman. Justin Jackson, he's a guy that I like just because I think his role will expand throughout the year depending on what happens with Gordon, Eckler. I'm banking on Freeman to get hurt. That was my Ito Smith choice. I mean, he could actually have a good year. And then Sammy Watkins, I took Sammy Watkins pretty early. I took like all 4 of those wide receivers pretty early and then just didn't touch a wide receiver for a while. I think Sammy Watkins could, potentially be one of my flex guys if he's got a big year. Obviously, I got Justin Tucker. He's just my good luck charm. Have him every year. And I didn't even pick my defense. I fell asleep or something. I don't even know. But I mean, Vikings defense isn't bad. I don't know. I like my team. Oh, and I have Jimmy G. We'll just kind of see if Jimmy G pans out or not. I don't really think he'll have that great of a year, but I felt like I need another guy because I didn't like Newton that much. You know what I mean? Everybody doesn't really like Newton, but I feel like I got Newton at a good spot. I didn't break the bank to get Newton. So I like my team. I get my team like a B+. I'm going to be active in the waiver wire all year. See you in the playoffs.
Love it. Yeah, so even as a Panther fan, I don't really like Newton. The moment in which I went from being neutral on Newton to disliking him was in the Super Bowl when he fumbled at his own 20 and didn't dive after the ball. And I think that really sums up his career as a whole. Like, he's a lot of flash, but not a lot of grit. If you look at a guy like Brett Favre, Favre would have fucking face-tanked all those lineman hits to try to get that ball back. And Newton tried this move that Ben loved to do in junior high, where if there was a fumble, he would like kick the ball and then like try to run after it. But fantasy-wise, he's decent because he rushes. But
I think he get hurt. I think he could potentially get hurt this year. So I'm not really like. I mean, my quarterback situation is not great, and I really don't like the depth at my running back position. Like, I feel like my top 2 guys are good, but I don't really think that. Potentially, like unless there's an injury happens, my guys on the bench are going to be that great. But I mean, I'm banking on injuries. Injuries always happen, so hopefully that pans out. And then, I mean, I'll stream a quarterback every week if I have to. Like, I don't know, or make a trade for one. I'm just really happy with my wide receiving core. I kind of took the Spencer strat and took the 3 wide receivers in the standard league. But and then I made sure I got 2 solid backs. So I'm happy with my team. I think my team has good depth, and I think it has good starters on it.
yeah, I mean, Kamara's obviously top tier. Fournette's great when he's healthy, so for 8 games you'll be cooking. And Chris Godwin and Adam Thielen, I both like. Thielen's obviously the main guy in his offense, and a lot of times the running back gets hurt, so he gets even more targets. And Godwin is part of an air raid offense, even though he's the number 2 guy. Njoku's solid, not top tier, but solid. Galladay's solid, I think, because Matt Stafford has a lot of games where they're behind 21 points in the fourth quarter and he gets to stat pad. And, you know, a lot of times he's going to fucking throw touchdowns late in games and he's going to have to throw them to someone, and Megatron is long gone. Detroit was such a shithole, Megatron retired in the prime of his career just to get away. And to me, the most interesting dynamic of your team is the fact that you took so many number 2 running backs, and if you have running back issues with your starters, like when Fournette inevitably gets hurt, you have a lot of different guys who are sort of banking on the starter getting hurt. And in a lot of situations, it's pretty high likelihood Ito Smith, like Devote Freeman, hurt every year. Justin Jackson's behind a holdout and a guy that gets hurt every year. Darrell Henderson's behind like the most notoriously injured running back in the entire draft. And then as far as your special teams goes, Justin Kicker, the UT alum, is known for his extreme accuracy, and obviously pretty much everyone in the league is going to be streaming defenses. So I would give this draft a B+. I think you have a really solid team, and we all both know you're going to be active.
Yeah. Alright. Next team.
Alright, let's go Bing Bong. Old Cam joke.
Bing Bong.
You know, Cameron has Mike Ditka as his picture. He needs to fucking change it to like Denny Green or like a really jokish coach, the way he manages.
Yeah, he should. Like the black guy for the Cardinals.
Yeah, we are who we thought they were, that guy. Or maybe Jason Garrett, since he loves the Cowboys so much.
Well, he didn't pick any Cowboys. That's good.
That's true, they were all gone.
So, I mean, I don't like that he's got Gordon on the team. I mean, I heard that Gordon might be going to, I mean, I heard he potentially might be going to the Eagles. I don't want to start any rumors or anything like that. But, I mean, he could potentially be playing somewhat soon or whatever. But I don't know. I wouldn't have drafted him as early as he got him. But McCaffrey, obviously, really good pick. I'm not that high on AB just because of the new, you know, being in a new place. You know, he's kind of he's showed that he's the diva. I'm not that high on AB. Ty, not high on Ty with no luck. You know, I don't like Dion Lewis. You know, Dion Lewis's value is completely diminished. And it definitely when you're not in a PPR league. Deshaun Watson's a good quarterback. I feel like you have to draft him too high, so I don't really usually touch him. Robbie Anderson's a good player. You know, he's just hot and cold. Will he be good? I don't know. I don't know why he drafted Cousins. Adam Humphries is good in PPR. Deshaun Jackson maybe okay. Kenny Stills. I mean, it still shows that he's
a Texan now.
So I mean, maybe that and Watson will be good. Tate being suspended the first 4 games, I guarantee that he's gonna have injuries or like he's gonna have to drop. Like I didn't draft Tate, and I don't draft people that have suspensions like that because I just think that you're gonna have to drop him before you know, like because you're gonna have another injury or something like that. I can't fill my bench up with someone like that. Zerline and Bears D. He made sure he got a top kicker and a top defense. He should be good there every week. I mean, he just doesn't really have – he's not active in the waiver wire. His bench is going to be a lot of guys that he probably ends up getting rid of anyways. And then, I mean, I just don't really think that his starters are that strong. Dion Lewis, not a strong starter. Ty and AB are some names, but you know, what would they do this year?
Well, you know what's funny to me, Jackson, is this draft looks to me like someone who is like familiar with football but like wasn't following the news closely. And basically what this reads like is like I haven't been following shit all off season. T.Y. Hilton, he's like the top tier receiver for the Colts. Like draft, oh great, well Luck is gone, he probably didn't know that. Like Golden Tate, well he was like a top threat, oh well he's suspended. You know, like, oh, Melvin Gordon, I had him last year, and he's like a top-tier guy. Like, oh, he's holding out.
Yeah, doesn't he draft Gordon every year?
It seems like it. He definitely had him last year. Oh, Antonio Brown, like, big name, one like top tier, and it's like, well, have you seen his feet pics? They're disgusting. And then, one thing I'll say is I really, really like that Cameron got Greg DeLeg in the Bears defense, probably like number 1 and number 1 for their positions, because Cameron's not the sort of guy to like play matchups and stream effectively. So the fact that he got like the de facto best defense by far and an incredible kicker on a good offense, I think actually like suits him well. And like you said, his bench is weak. Like Deshaun Jackson is gonna get 2 or like 20 every week. He's boomer
Yeah, you
bust.
can't start him.
Dion Lewis is shit, straight up in a non-PPR.
I mean, and think about, okay, where else is he going to go at running back when Melvin Gordon is not playing? You know, like that basically, like that's another reason why I say you're going to have to drop one of these wide receivers.
Yeah.
Like, and you're going to end up dropping Tate. And what round did he draft Tate? Like round 9? You know what I mean? Like it's a wasted pick.
Yep. Well, and I like Vance McDonald because Jesse James is gone and Mr. Birdchest is gone too, so he's going to get a lot more targets.
Yeah, I think that's not a bad pick. I just think too weak. Else with D draft.
I give this a C+.
Okay.
What do you?
I feel like last night when I was like looking at the draft, like I mean I wasn't really paying attention to this one that much because I was like had just done that other one and like I was just kind of like coming over here and drafting when I was supposed to draft, but like I was seeing some of the players being picked, and I mean like this, I guess this is kind of mean to say or whatever, but it's like there's about 6 guys that know what they're doing and there's about 6 guys that just don't know what they're doing, and that's kind of how I feel like these rankings have gone. Like I feel like it's either like just like a D+ or it's like a B+. You know what I mean? It's just like it's real hit or miss.
Who do you think has a more talented player base, the league you commish or this Watson league?
It's weird because like what I'll say is like the players that like there's certain players that went off the board way faster in this league than in the other league, and it made me feel what I'll say is the top half of this league is a little bit stronger than the top half of that other league, but that other league has more like consistency, like more like solid players. Like this league has probably like 6 solid players, and the other 6 are just trash. I mean that's just how I feel.
I honestly feel like this league is a little bit better than the one that you commish, especially considering you have like Spencer and Weston.
Well, that's what I said. I think the top half is better. This top half of this league is better. You know what I mean? I think that there's some stronger people in this league than the other league. But I think from top to bottom, I think the bottom 4 people in this league probably shouldn't be playing fantasy football. But I mean, that's not mine.
Fair enough. Hey, they still pay the entry fee, right?
Hey, they pay. So yeah.
All right, let's talk about no fried rice for you, who I think has one of the weaker teams, frankly.
Yeah, I mean, Hopkins, Mike Williams may have a good year. He drafted, I think, Kelsey pretty early, so that's why some of these things are a little bit weaker. Don't like Mark Ingram as a starter.
Picked him in like the 4th or 5th round.
I think Matt Ryan is a serviceable quarterback, but it's nothing to like write home about. Kerryon Johnson probably will have a good year. I mean, I don't like that he has 2 Lions in his offense. Larry Fitzgerald, all right player. Yeah, I mean, this team is like kind of like Christians where, you know, the top 3 guys are good, but then like the whole middle of the draft are just like a bunch of 9 to 11 rounders. So yeah, I don't really like this team. Gostkowski, Eagles defense, not bad, but I mean, why'd you draft Burton? You got Kelsey. You could get more depth somewhere else. The running back depth is absolutely terrible on this team.
I think this team is shit, honestly. Like,
yeah.
Ingram isn't going to be very good. Matt Ryan's solid.
All those are share time backs.
Kerryon Johnson, like the Lions famously, like all the running backs suck penis. Like they get behind and they air it out. Hopkins is good, but like they have way more offensive options than they did last year. Like Kiki Kuti is getting better. Will Fuller's knee has healed. They have, you know, the Duke Johnson.
This is the real question. Can Kerryon Johnson, DeAndre Hopkins, and Travis Kelce carry this team from week to week?
Probably
with
not.
Matt Ryan?
Probably not. I don't think so.
Probably not. So,
Mike Williams, the number 2 option. Obviously, Kelsey's top tier. Like Marvin Jones isn't worth a shit.
Look at the bench, dude.
His
The
bench
bench.
is
I
a
mean,
joke.
Jordan Howard, Mike Davis. Those are like third stringers.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Jordan Howard. Okay, he's not a third stringer per se, but
He's fighting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got Sproles. They got so many back. Why would you ever draft the Eagle running back? Miles Sanders is a guy that I don't know why anybody wanted to. I mean, some people went for him high.
Rookie hype. Yeah, I give
All
this
right.
team a D-. I think it might fucking have the worst record, honestly. I think it's that bad.
I don't think he's a bad owner though. Like I
True.
think that he has the ability to improve his team, and like he does add some good people in the waiver wire. So like I think he has the ability to improve. And I mean, I really think that this division is weak. Just
Oh yeah,
he already,
it is weak.
so it's not gonna be hard for him.
All right, what was your grade on it?
I'd say a D.
Okay,
It's not good.
let's move on to Ben King of Funny Rogers. Fade to
All right.
black. Mr. Take Aaron Rodgers in the second round. What did you think about that move?
I didn't really notice that they took him that early. But I mean, you get 4 points for a touchdown. That's kind of a waste. And the fact that he didn't get any wide receivers to go with it. I mean, he's got Austin Hooper as his tight end, trash. Allen Robinson's one of his wide receivers, trash. Philip Lindsay, non-PPR, not really going to be that great. He'll probably be his RB2 because Marlon Mack is just going to be all right with no luck. Le'Veon will probably have a huge year. That'll probably be one of his best players. Edelman will have a good year. And then, I mean, when he gets AJ Green back, hopefully, sustain and get AJ Green back. That'll be good. Jimmy Graham sucks. Corey Davis sucks. Kiki Kuti not going to be that good in a non-PPR league. Ronald Jones or Peyton Barber. I mean, we kind of played that game last year with which one of those is going to pan out. Neither of them panned out. This team, I mean, I'm not impressed by this team really.
Nor am I.
I don't think Ben really pays attention to football anymore.
He says he still fucking watches every week.
Mm.
I think the Mahomes, I didn't think he thought that when he saw he was like the 7th overall pick, he thought he was going to get Mahomes, and it like all went to shit when he didn't. He has 2 decent running backs. Bell has a high ceiling. I mean, obviously he has a good quarterback. Edelman, like in non-PPR, is, I think, like, he's like above average. He's not great. Allen Robinson's pretty good, but like Hooper, I'm not a fan of.
It's going to be how active he is, waiver was.
Yeah.
Because he's got a lot of holes on this team. Jason Myers is an all right kicker in a new place. Jacksonville's defense is good, but I mean they're playing the Chiefs week 1. I don't know why you would ever draft.
I love AJ Green, but the dude can't stay healthy.
Yeah, and it's a foot injury, and that's just going to get re-injured.
I give
ankle.
I give this a C-.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things like, okay, he does have Bell. Well, it's like, well, everybody has a first-round pick. It's like, well, shit, you got to have at least one person on your team that's not complete trash.
True. Alright, we can now move on to the final team, Rampy. Racist helmet rules. Pretty good.
This is really not a bad team. Like I like Tyler Lockett, and like I mean, okay, let's say Gurley does pan out. Let's not try to look at it as like Gurley is a. Now I think he went for Gurley too high. What I mean? But getting Gurley in Cook, I think is great. Duke Johnson's not as valuable in this league, but I think he'd be a good PPR guy. He's got Eckler. I think Eckler will be a serviceable guy in a standard league, even though he's more of a PPR guy. Amari Cooper is honestly a good pick. I mean, I really think this is the best. This is the best team in this division. Now I think if he can like just get rid of Taylor Gabriel and probably get rid of one of his tight ends, whichever one doesn't pan out, and like add some waiver wire guys to like improve his bench to have some options. I think that'll be good. He's got a good kicker. Probably will end up dropping these defenses and streaming somebody else. But I mean, this is not a bad team. This is the best team I've seen in a minute. I mean, if Lamar Jackson or Trubisky doesn't pan out though, he's gonna have a hole at that all year. But I think Lamar Jackson will be all right, or at least serviceable. He's gonna have his off weeks, which will throw Aaron off. But I think he'll be serviceable.
Yeah, Jackson.
I think this is like a B minus.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson rushes so much where like a lot of his variance and inconsistency will be sort of mitigated, because if he gets 60 rush yards every week, you know, that's a touchdown and a half. Gurley, if he can stay healthy, will be good, but like it feels to me like everyone thinks that Gurley is going to have recurring knee problems. Like, I didn't get the feeling through any of my drafts that anyone was high on Gurley. Just ridiculous. And then Dalvin Cook gets hurt every year. I love Aaron's receivers. Amari Cooper, he's going to get the majority of the targets in Dallas. Tyler Lockett is going to get the majority of the targets in his offense. Jordan Reed gets hurt every year, so I'm sure he'll just plug in Ebron at that point and maybe drop Reed. Duke Johnson, I think, is a solid pick. Eckler will be good. You know, it's sort of weird because obviously you have Cameron, who's hoping that Gordon ends his holdout, and then you have Aaron, who's hoping that Gordon pulls a Bell, you know, and then he has like a really good running back. Overall, I would give this team a B+, especially considering his good kicker.
Yeah, I like this team. Usually I don't like how Aaron drafts, but I mean, I like this team.
Alright, so let's hear your predictions for who's going to win each division and then the wild card, and we'll wrap the video.
Alright, how many teams make the playoffs in each one?
One out of each division and one wild card.
So only 4 teams make it to the playoffs?
Correct.
Okay. Well, obviously, me and Spencer are going to make the playoffs, so we're both going to be there. I don't know who's going to win the league, but it's going to be close. It'll probably be like in a game. It would have been a lot closer last year if I wouldn't have started so hot. But me and him definitely are like 2 of the top owners, so I think me and him will make it in our league, and I think the other people in our division are pretty trash. I think one team gets out of the third division. It's probably going to be Aaron. I think Aaron has a cakewalk in that division if he can just stay above water. And then for me, it's going to be the same as last year. It's going to be either you or Weston. I don't really think Christian. I don't think Lily will do much. It's going to be you or Weston battling. And if one of us, maybe both of y'all make it, and then maybe one of me or Spencer won't make it. So, but I think that the top 4 owners is Wiley, me, Spencer, Weston, and I think Aaron had the best draft out of the other people.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, frankly. Aaron pretty much should auto-win his division. He has so many easy matchups. He drafted a good team. Now, I think that oftentimes Aaron is actually a decent drafter, even though he'll like try to reach or get too cute sometimes. Like when he cock-blocked me for David Akers in the 7th round, my favorite kicker ever. But, I mean, if you look at his competition, it's soft. So I give him that division. I think he did a good job drafting. It's going to be between Weston and I in the Cursed Lands division. I'd give myself the slight edge because of Weston's lack of depth, and I think that my receivers are better than his. I think Julio Jones is going to have a monster year. And obviously you and Spencer are going to be battling it out in that division hard, and I think whichever one of you don't make it will be good enough to make the wild card. I think I might edge Spencer, but I'd say that y'all are about damn even. Y'all both have really solid teams. I guess I would edge Spencer because he has Saquon and Ertz as well as the really good receivers, but y'all are both making the playoffs regardless. So do you have any closing thoughts for the video?
No, I mean, I think that it's pretty much, I don't know. I'm just ready to make the playoffs. That's all.
Alright, I totally agree with you, and we'll end on that note. Make sure to like the video.